So now I would like to understand, decode it to our audience. What is the real difference between viral content and valuable content? And can a post be both?
So I focus on these three things. If these three things are there in your content, the content piece is going to go very well. Number one is the intention that you're building it with. Number two, the accountability you're actually carrying in that content. And number three,
Talk to us about the flip side in terms of the toughest lessons that you have learned in your entrepreneurial journey.
there has been a lot of team members who left us as well and left us in a way where we learned so many things. So number one thing that I've learned in this 1.5 years of journey is uh, don't try to hire team members based on their resume, because I've seen very fancy stuff on resumes like I am graduates, this, that, whatever. But when you actually see their actual work ethics, the work process, then you actually realize, that there's a lot of difference when they actually work on ground and what they put on their resume.
And Muskan, how do you reverse engineer content that works? Is it audience first or idea first?
I feel it's always audience first, because I feel that even the best of the best ideas on social media fail if it doesn't speak the language your audience understands, is what I feel. Because it has been so many times where people feel that, oh, let's put it out this content and it will work. But if your audience doesn't like it, it's not going to work. So you always have to keep your content audience centric first, so that your initial engagement begins.
So, folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. Muskan Saxena joins us in the virtual studio today, and she's a digital marketing maven, shaping the creator economy through powerful brand campaigns and strategic content. She has led multi-million-dollar influencer partnerships and worked with big names like Tech Burner and Lenskart, and built a Gen Z-powered marketing engine that delivers serious results. So first things first, Muskan, talk to me about why should somebody tune into a conversation today and spend their valuable time.
Well, Naveen, I believe, spreading in value just through my content. So I believe that this conversation can be a huge add-on to the knowledge that Gen Zs already have, and especially how content works. So you don't need to depend on 10 sources to gain information of how YouTube works, Instagram works, LinkedIn works. This podcast itself can be a complete guide for them of how they need to start, how they need to continue, and of course how they need to monetize and build a career on these platforms. Basically.
Excellent. So, folks, you might have tuned into TGV 626 episode featuring Kim Ritberg, who spoke about 4 C's for video success. So, this episode is going to cover beyond what is already covered by Kim. So, today we are going to delve into a conversation on the topic at hand: Gen Z teams, $1 million campaigns and above, and the future of content with Muskan Saxena. But before we get started, here is an exciting twist as always. So, Muskan, get ready for a rapid fire round of crazy questions. So, typically, I keep
Yeah.
changing the format of the rapid fire round. Sometimes I go with random words, and this time I thought I'll ask you some crazy questions. So, you need to answer whatever
Yeah.
comes to your mind and respond without thinking much.
Sure.
So, if you're ready, let's get
Yeah.
started.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
All right. So, Reels or LinkedIn posts, which one gives you more dopamine?
LinkedIn post currently.
Okay. If content had a scent, what would yours smell like?
Would be a kind of a sweet smell, kind of citric smell.
Citrus. Okay, I like citrus, by the way. And then one thing that instantly screams cringe on social media.
I feel that, when on the evergreen content, people write, that 5 spots remaining, hurry up, 2 spots remaining, especially when you know that it's going to last for the year around and it's something not going to be there for just 15 years or something. I feel on the evergreen content, it's very stupid to write, only 5 spots left, hurry up, this, that. I think that's not the right way to market it.
Yeah. Last year I enrolled for a online MBA. Okay, I don't want to name them, and however, that's a global platform, very prestigious. In fact, we have stalwarts of the world who were part of the faculty and all. I was really impressed. But when I came across their website for the first time, they said, okay, 24 hours remaining. I waited for a day. Again, it shows 24 hours remaining. Then, so this is in line with what you mentioned.
True, true. Definitely.
Yeah, this is, see, people should notice, right? Others are observing us, and we got to be really, really careful about what we put when, especially when you mention these kind of things. All right, so with that, let's move to the next one, Muskan. The most overhyped buzzword in the creator economy.
The most overhyped word is using jargons or something. I have heard this jargon word a lot, and now people have started fitting all the words basically as a jargon, while it's not. I have seen a lot of creators who make use of such words, and still their content booms. So there's nothing called as jargon. Jargon. Whatever you feel like, just put it out honestly, and just follow a free flowing conversation, even with the reels nowadays.
Okay, here comes the bomb. Your Gen Z team would roast you for what?
Roast me for being too bossy sometimes. Because I have an idea of having the perfect work in place. I cannot sit or rest until the work is done. So I have heard this a lot of time that the bosses come now we have to act seriously or something like that. So I think because of my bossy attitude.
Fair enough. Okay. Would you rather manage 50 micro influencers or one big celebrity client?
I would actually love to manage micro influencers because I have done both. And the value that you get out of 50 micro influencers is way higher than having a value of one celebrity influencer, honestly.
Excellent. Somehow my gut feel was you would rely on 50 micro influencers. So my gut feel works a lot of times. Okay. Here comes the next one. The weirdest pitch you have ever received in your DMs.
The weirdest pitch that I have received was recently actually when one of the guys, he actually pitched us in a very nice way, I would say, because in the entire paragraph, he didn't mention that, whatever we would be working around would be for free. So he pitched his business, he told us entire strategy, then he told us he's very excited to work with us. And he was doing something very unique in the AI sector. We were also very excited to onboard him. But it was a long project. And when you commit someone to get monetized, it's actually a 2 or 3 months process. And then he's like, okay, let's do one thing. Once I get monetized, then I'll pay you guys. I'm like, oh, dude, this is not how we work.
Great.
That was really weird for someone to actually say and expect that.
Okay. Moving to the next one. Instagram down for a day or Wi-Fi gone for a week. Pick your poison.
See, Instagram down for a day would be okay, but not Wi-Fi for a week because again, a lot of platforms would suffer. So it's okay to be, down on Instagram for at least an hour rather than not having Wi-Fi.
Good one. Okay. If you could steal one brand's content strategy for a day, who would it be and why?
I would 2 names actually I would like to mention over here that I am really shocked every time they post something. Number one is of course Amul. Whatever happens in the world, they have their billboards and everything around, and it looks so good. And same they have been, yeah, exactly, and same they have been from past 100 years. Next comes is if you have seen Mumbai Police Instagram or Twitter, it's very crazy. It's very it's very funny. Also, it's very crazy. And every time people comment over there, like, who's their social media management team? And the way they are putting out content is very crazy. So these two people are killing the game of social media.
No, concur with you. I came across both of them, and in fact, I read Times of India every day, and I'm super enthralled by those Amul baby campaigns that they do and all. And they're so creative and they're relevant, right? They make sure that the content is kind of fresh all the time and also catching up with the trends and all. Amazing, amazing. Okay. And Muskan, what's more important, a viral reel or a converted lead?
See, a converted lead would be more important because I guess virality in 2022 was very different as compared to virality in 2025. Everybody I can see is going viral right now. If college students are making reels in their hostels and that's going to like 2 million, 3 million. So I don't think so. Going viral on Instagram is that big thing right now. So getting leads is still one of the biggest things. It's very difficult to actually crack leads on through social media actually. So I would choose lead rather than viral reels.
Mhm. Excellent. So I loved all your responses and thank you for participating in the rapid fire round number one, which means there is one more rapid fire round at the end. So stay tuned. And before that, let me welcome you to the show formally. So Muskan, hearty welcome to TGV. Thank you for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much, Naveen, for giving me this opportunity to be a voice on your show. I've been watching your content for a while now, and I'm really inspired by the guest line that you bring and the enthusiasm that you have for this entire segment. Love your energy, and I'm very excited for this conversation.
Same here. Thank you. And I've gone through your profile. You have done some amazing work. And I'm really impressed, okay, by the kind of profile that you have built at such a young age. And I'm sure you are going to go places. So let's bring you back again on the show from time to time and share your success so that our audience get inspired. And with that, let's move forward and talk to us. Who is your guiding voice?
So guiding voice, it has always been my inner self. I'll tell you, a lot of people don't know about it, but I'm very stubborn. Like when I want something, then I want something, and there's no if but and so. And whenever an year starts or as whenever a fresh month starts, I have my own list. Uh, I have created my own version of future self that where I want to see, like when I'll be 30, 35, whatever. So I make sure that whatever I have written, it's not just for the sake of writing. I actually do it. So whenever I see that, that is actually a guiding voice for me, my future self, my inner voice that no, if you have everything in place, if you put in 100% of the hard work, the things are going to align for you. So that's something internally. But if you talk about the external forces that actually help me out is number one is my mother. She always says, like, just go for it, just go for it. Like, she sacrificed her career for my growth. So I really have that affection. And, like, I have seen her as a role model in my life. So, of course, my mom and business mentors and a few close friends. That has always been an inspiration to me. Like, just keep looking forward.
Mhm. Excellent. I loved it. And now talk to us about your success mantra, as in top three things that have contributed to your success so far.
So top three things I would like to say. The number one is I always said yes to things even when I was not ready. So even at this age of 23, whenever an opportunity comes to me, and there are a lot of times when we feel as an individuals that we are not ready for it, but in such a point, I would suggest that say yes to it. The things will eventually happen. And this has been a lot of time. My legs were shaking when I gave my first public speech in one of the colleges. My legs were shaking for 5 minutes. It was shaking, and then I was very normal. And then I was in that aura when I was speaking to that 100 people there on the stage. So saying yes to opportunities even when you're not ready. Second, if you want to go very fast in this entrepreneurship journey or business journey, you have to build teams. You cannot do it alone. You cannot work on scripts alone. You cannot close clients alone. You need a team who thinks like you, acts like you. So my entire energy from this 1.5 years of building this team goes in entire nurturing them, building them, having that right energy in place. So culturally, you have to be very strong. Team wise, you have to be very strong. If you want, so that has been my success mantra because wherever I'm standing today, it was not possible alone. So that is something that I have focused highly, like team and culture. Number three that I would say is I'm obsessed about learning about human psychology and human behavior because I believe in the field of media or be it any business, you need to understand your clients, customers, and of course the people you are catering to, which are your audience. So you have to understand from their psychology what's going to work and what's not. So that's why I'm very obsessed about understanding human behavior and all. And that's how I act when I write content, when I direct something, when I pitch someone. So these are the three things that actually help me move very fast in this industry.
I see a lot of clarity in your response, and with that, talk to us about the flip side in terms of the toughest lessons that you have learned in your entrepreneurial journey.
Toughest lesson, so I'll tell you, all the journeys are not rosy, and same even ours was. There has been a lot of team members who left us as well, and left us in a way where we learned so many things. So number one thing that I've learned in this 1.5 years of journey is, uh, don't try to hire team members based on their resume, because I've seen very fancy stuff on resumes like I am graduates, this, that, whatever. But when you actually see their actual work ethic, the work process, you actually realize, that there's a lot of difference when they actually work on ground and what they put on their resume. So I try to find team members not with fancy degree. I don't care about degrees. That's the last thing I see on the resume. I actually find people who are culturally fit for the organization, which means they are very good on ground. They are very good with their thinking and all. So this was one of the toughest lessons that I've learned eventually. Earlier, I used to look, oh, this resume looks really good. Let's just hire this person. But because of this trial and error in this time, like I realized, no, we should actually go for someone who's willing to take risks, willing to take bets, willing to go for a content if their gut feeling is saying a yes. So that's one thing I've learned. Number two that I've learned is, so I told you, like I'm very serious about work. Like I take work as worship, and I when I'm super busy, rather than cribbing about it, I take it as a blessing. So that's few traits that with which are how I work. So coming to that, when you are so particular about each and every aspect of your day, it's very common to have burnouts, and burnout is a real problem in any entrepreneur's journey, and especially when you love what you do. So that was again a tough thing to manage. Number three is, recently I went on Joe Stock, okay, and I realized that when I started posting the pictures of Joe Stock, I started to suddenly get a lot of DMs from the people who never talk to me, a lot of calls from the people whom I know, don't, whom I've never spoken from past 6 months or 1 year. So I've realized that people will only clap when you are on your finish line. They won't clap when you start your journey. So don't expect validation when you are beginning your journey, and eventually go with the process. So that's few toughest lessons that I've learned over the time.
So one, probably a couple of cents or 2 cents from my side when it comes to validation, right? As long as we believe in the conviction, right? In terms, if we have that particular conviction, and as long as we believe in what we are doing, that is okay, right? Because sometimes what I have seen in my life is, if you are say 5 to 10 years ahead of the environment where you are, right? People take time to see and understand what is really happening, and they think you are crazy. But if they think you are crazy, you are on the right path. That is my observation. All right. Yeah. So, Muskan, a while ago, we spoke about viral reel versus converted lead. So, you preferred viral reel. So, now I would like to understand. Probably you can decode it to our audience. What is the real difference between viral content and valuable content? And can a post be both?
Yeah. So firstly, I'll tell you about the differences between the both, and I'll tell you the content that actually people need right now in 2025 actually requires both. So the thing is, if you focus more on the viral content, it actually dilutes your content as a content creator, because you only focus on the viral topics. Whatever is working, you're covering that, right? It's not building a brand identity. But when you're also focusing on the valuable content, it's building an identity. But if you focus only on the valuable content, your growth will be very slow. So I focus on these three things. If these three things are there in your content piece is going to go very well. Number one is the intention that you're building it with. Number two, the accountability you are actually carrying in that content. And number three is the great storytelling. People don't like to be sold right now. Viral reels work because they have an emotion to it. Valuable content also works when they have a takeaway from that. So if you have a mix of both in your content piece, that is actually where your the journey of becoming a content creator in 2025 should start with, because viral content will die out. If you are planning to build on viral content, I think none of the people who will be around you will remember you. So your content piece, every reel that you're putting out should have both the elements in the equal amount in order to make that piece work.
Yeah, great. I love that perspective. And Muskan, how do you reverse engineer content that works? Is it audience first or idea first?
I feel it's always audience first, because I feel that even the best of the best ideas on social media fails speaks if it doesn't speak the language your audience understands, is what I feel. Because it has been so many times where people feel that, oh, let's put it out this content and it will work. But if your audience doesn't like it, it's not going to work. So you always have to keep your content audience centric first, so that your initial engagement begins, and if it shows some value, the algorithm is anyways going to support it to the non-followers. And I'll tell you, sorry, adding to this one again.
Yeah, please go
So
ahead.
I'm just telling you the reason. In even in the organization that we work and the content pieces and the clients that we work for, we always keep audience first. The reason is why, and it has been sometimes as well. At 6:30, when we were uploading one of the video content, the team watched it together, and still there were some feelings that this is not going to work. It still needs some redo. We didn't posted that video, though it was announced, but we posted the message for the reasons why it's not going today. But we decided to not post it, because I believe just putting your best foot forward, which is like I always ask myself that these three questions, like will they like, will they share, and how these people are going to take this content. So if there's a tick mark on all three, the content goes live. If no, we take one day and still work on it and keep our audience first.
Great questions to ask. Okay. And moving forward, what is your personal framework or a funnel for managing a high performing Gen Z team? Because there is a lot of buzz around how to work with Gen Z, and the preferences are completely different, right? So, how are you handling that?
So I'll tell you, like being a Gen Z myself. So I started working very early, right? And I try to observe everything around me. So at 17, I started working, and I was working with people who were like 35 plus, 40 plus, and I see that how they used to work. They had zero work-life balance. They used to just delegate tasks, and they used to not even tell us why they are delegating this task. And the third is they were not very open about their perspective. So you were never having a voice, right? So when I was building this Gen Z team, because I am a Gen Z myself, I firstly took care of all these things, because I knew that if Gen Z doesn't feel comfort, safe in the place that they are working, they are going to resign the next day. They are not attached with companies, but it's your as a founder, it's your responsibility to make them attached with the company, right? So the things that I follow is number one, I give them freedom with accountability. By that I mean I just speak to them about the deadline, which is this is your job, this is your work, this is the task I'm giving you, and this is the deadline. Work however you want, work at night if you want, work at day if you want, work at morning if you want. I just want these tasks to be done. So I'm giving them freedom, but there is also an accountability that comes with a deadline that you have to do this task, and this is how it is supposed to be done. That is number one thing. Number two, I have realized that in corporates, there's a lot of micromanagement by managers, which is horrible for any young person to actually go through that. And young people are like, oh, we'll get X number of amount at the month end. Let's just tolerate that. But that actually impacts a lot on your mental health. Being a Gen Z who give mental health most importance. So I feel that it's okay to give micro feedback, but micromanagement is something that makes things too heavy on the mind of creative people. So I give micro feedback. By micro feedbacks, I mean usually there is a monthly meeting that is conducted just to take an overall idea of how the performance for that month for a so and so individual has been. So I focus on micro feedbacks rather than micro management. So that's the another thing that I follow. Number three is very important for me, which is I always give context in my meeting. And I believe that context is the biggest currency in keeping your team aligned. By that, I mean, whenever I tell them a change in plan, like, guys, we are scrapping this idea and we are following this new idea, new strategy, or whenever I tell them, then don't do this rather than, I always give them why behind that shift of strategy. Like it's very important for them to know the why. like why I'm making a switch from this to that. So that, at least they are aligned and they don't have their own thoughts about that particular thing. And the entire team is working on the same vision. So when I share my perspective, my vision, and I give them an open ground where they can put their ideas, because for me, diverse perspective matters. For me, it really matters their opinions, despite they are an intern or whatever full time role. For me, what matters is I'm hearing from everyone out in that room. So these are the few things I have actually laid in my organization, and I like put a huge emphasis on these particular three things, and that has actually kept a very open environment. Like anyone can jump on a Discord call with me, talk about something. So I have always kept that thing, and I guess it's always working in the favor.
So, Muskan, talk to us about your strategy or a personal framework or funnel for managing high performing Gen Z team. Because of late, I started working with a few of them. Their working style means your generation working style is completely different. So, I'm curious to understand the nuances of how to manage them well.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, because as a Gen Z myself, we have worked in a lot of corporate jobs and media firms. I've realized a very different pattern of how Gen Zs work and how a 35-year-old or a 40-year-old work. So I actually have put this three systems in place when it comes to my company, Scale Social. So the first thing that I follow in my organization is whoever works on particular projects, like especially when it comes to the content, video, etc., being a Gen Z themselves, I make sure that I'm giving them the freedom with accountability. So when I say freedom with accountability, that means that I'm giving them a chance to work on their own schedules, which means there's no harsh deadlines. I want it in the next hour or something like that. I'm giving them the freedom to work as per how they want, which could be night, it could be day, whatever, however they want, they can work, but I'm giving them it within accountability. By that I mean I'm giving them the structure how I need it, the deadline in which I need it. So I don't micromanage. I don't like to interfere in their processes of working, because if you see the creative fields, people do well when they're actually left out alone with their ideas. So that's one thing I follow. Number two that I follow is I hate micromanagement. I hated when I was working for the TFS, when I was having too much pressure by my manager, and I still hate it to put it out on my team. So I don't like to micromanage my team at all. But rather than micromanagement, I choose to give them micro feedback. Micro feedback, by that I mean we conduct like one-on-one weekly sessions or monthly meetings just to have a check on how the things are working on their end. Are they pressurized or not? If they want to try something new in the company, they are free to do that. So I just want to understand how they are thinking, being part of this organization. So that is basically a monthly meeting that happens where both sides get an opportunity to speak. So that is something that I follow as a second rule. Number third rule, if I would talk to you about, is giving them context. By giving them context, I mean this was something that I really missed when I was working at other organizations, because they followed a corporate culture. In corporate culture, usually boss or the manager speaks and employees just take notes. But in my organization, I believe I usually take notes most of the times. And the reason why I do that is because I like to hear everyone. I like to hear diverse perspectives. In my organization, manager is also equal, intern is also giving that same value. So they have their chance to speak up about any idea, any process, etc. So context, by that I mean if there's any shift of the strategy, I'm responsible for telling them the why behind it so that the entire team is aligned. If you will notice this culture that a lot of organizations follow, they don't give their employees the why. So that's why there's a lot of buzz, a lot of, a lot of basically fake narratives that spreads around just because they are not given a clear why this so and so things are happening. Maybe it can be a change in strategy, or change in their working schedules, change in their roles. I think clear answers sort everything, right? It's not needed to be so complicated. It can be simple as well. So I prefer to always give them the reasons why, so that my entire team is aligned and on the same page. I don't like, running around the confusions and all. So we keep it very straight, we keep it very simple, and we keep it very positive every single time.
So, micro feedback instead of micromanagement and giving them a free hand Okay, so that they can be creative. Awesome. So I love the tips. And for those of you who are watching or listening this episode, I think these are the golden nuggets to manage the Gen Z teams effectively. And Muskan, let's step forward and talk to us about how did you approach building credibility to land big clients like Tech Burner and Lenskart.
So, as I told you, I was working for Ranveer Alabatia back in the past as a social media manager. So I'll tell you that has been a place that has changed how I used to take things. Okay. So career in YouTube is very limited. Okay. Like it can last up to 5 years or maybe 7 years, 10 years, right? In that 5, 7, 10 years, if you don't make your content branches and you don't expand, you're nowhere, right? And that's what every big YouTuber is doing right now. They are opening various directions of working. Maybe, for example, if you can take Dhruv Rathi, they are into courses. Abhi and New, they are entering into the courses. They are basically starting the revenue streams in very different way, where they're positioning themselves as an expert. And their YouTube is basically being a channel for their content and everything like that is creating a very good credibility there in the market for them. So there's a lot of work in the market. So I don't agree with people who say there's no work. So all these people, big names, have a lot of work to give you, right? And what you need to do is identify, because I when I got them to work for us and give them projects, like even my different team members also were very excited and when we got them. So the strategy behind this was when we pitched them, we didn't pitch them like these are the services we can offer you and all of that. My pitch is very straight, clear till today. My pitch just mentions these are the following things that are missing from your content, and this is how we can fix. And these are the results you can see in 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. I pitched them a long-term plan, 12-month plan, but a bifurcation of what they can expect from third month onwards, because that's how much time it takes for the content to get warm up, for IPs to work, etc. So that's how I still pitch clients. So that was the thing that I was working on, the pitching. I did very good pitching in the initial days and still I do. So that's the number one thing I focused while bringing them on board, because one thing I've realized that nobody cares about what you can offer them, because even there are so many freelancers in the market. Just pitch them the result that they can see. Okay. Number two, I focused on the brands that can bring value to my organization. And even for that deals, if I had to negotiate and go on their rate, I went. The reason behind that is if I get that one brand on my portfolio, I can bring 10, 20 brands by making them seem that I have worked for them, right? So I have worked a lot, like on that front, that even though if they are not coming on the budget I want to work with, and if the brand holds the value that can get me 100x business or maybe 10x business, I go for that deal. So these were the reasons that actually helped me grow faster and work with bigger names. That was the second part. Number third is I try to make a list every single month. I'm very organized in that front, where I kind of do a manifestation of the clients that I can have in the future. And I pitch them personally from my personal accounts. I write those emails personally. That's basically a dream list of whom I want to work with, maybe in June, July, etc. So on. That helps me to crack these deals much faster, because I already have a vision that I want to work with 5 people this month. And then I was behind those 5 people. I was behind their teams. I was reaching out their team members who are working internally. And I just told them that just give me a chance, just a 20-minute meeting with you. And I'm sure this is going to work out. So confidence has also been a key in that. But yeah, these were the three frameworks that I followed that actually helped me gain the access of such elite people in the market.
Great thoughts. And okay, now let's talk about the success part. Like, how do you evaluate the success of a content campaign beyond likes and shares?
Whenever you run a content campaign, basically, beyond likes, because I'll tell you, it's very easy to get likes and comments, and nobody relies on it anymore. But one thing that I feel that relies the most success of the campaign is the retention metrics, which is basically the watch time. So if the reel is suppose 30 seconds, and if people are just watching that reel for 2 seconds or 3 seconds, despite the number of the views, that means you have failed, right? In that particular concept, making them reach to the audience, because message is usually in the last, right? And if 50 or 60% of the viewers that have watched that reel aren't going that till that end, I feel that your retention metric is failing. So that is number one, retention metric. Number two that I highly prefer is was the type of the DMs that you are receiving. So if the DMs that you're receiving after your campaign goes live and it's very positive, people are saving, people are sharing. Sharing is of course one of the most important metrics. DM is one of the most important metrics. Like if people are sending queries like, oh, where is this order? Oh, how can I take this service, etc. That means your campaign is actually heading in the right direction. Number three is the conversion goals, like how many leads your campaign generated. So usually what happens, people already have an estimated number that these many leads can, we will be able to generate very easily on so and so budget. But if you're failing to do so, that means your campaign has some kind of a problem in reaching the right person.
Okay, great. And what's your take on content repurposing? Is it underrated or overused?
I feel that 95% of the people are not doing content repurposing in the right way. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Because giving you an example of the podcast, so if someone records a 45 minutes podcast with anyone, there's a lot of value that's just made for Instagram. There's a lot of value that is just made for LinkedIn. So suppose if you like create 7 reels, just for example, if you cut out 7 reels from that particular 45 minutes of episode, there are very high chances you can put that 7 reels across different platforms, right? It doesn't have to be one platform specific. So what I would suggest that content repurposing doesn't mean copy paste like Instagram, like you put on Instagram, same content you put on LinkedIn. It's definitely not going to work. So what you need to do in that case is you need to focus on contextual redesigning. I term it in that way. By that I mean you need to figure out what's going to work on Reels and you need to figure out what's going to work as a LinkedIn. And you need to divide the two and focus on the content in such a way that the content doesn't get repeated on both the platforms. Even though if it gets repeated, it needs to make sure that it caters to the both the platforms audiences. Like on LinkedIn, something related to the work companies, the future of maybe AI, some type of topics would work really well on LinkedIn. But on Instagram, it's more of a masala that works. Moreover, if you tell something that people don't believe in, that works. So, yeah. So, the platform costs are different, but you need to divide your content accordingly. So, I don't feel, that, it's actually very underrated, honestly. But yeah, it should be done well.
I've seen a couple of people like John Lee Dumas, who does this excellent, content repurposing excellent. Like one thing, what he does is he releases old episodes again, apart from publishing blogs and also, which not many Indian podcasters or content creators.
Even Gary Vee does very well. Like I was watching his LinkedIn that day. I'm not a very big Gary Vee fan, but when he does it really well. Like he's very specific about what's going on LinkedIn, and he's very specific about what's going on Instagram.
Excellent. So now let's talk about the most important part of this conversation, right? So which is about why do you think most creators fail to monetize and what do they miss really?
So what I feel, so I'll tell you the difference that I've noticed from 2021 till now. In 2021, if there were just take an example, if there were 100 people around, there used to be only 10 people creating content. Okay, but when 90 people realized that there's a lot of money in content creation, creators are buying houses, luxury cars, X Y Z. Let's step into. So now you can see housewives also making content on like their kitchen equipment, etc. XYZ. So everyone is trying to become a creator. By 2025, this is like 90 people are creator out of 110 people are living their normal lives. It's like that. So competition is tough. And the biggest myth in this industry is if you keep posting videos, you will start earning more, you will start getting followers. That's actually not true. And just in this process, what people forget is they want to build a brand, right? Any product to a creator or any brand selects a creator only when he has a brand. It's a name in the industry. Uh, so this is something they miss. They forget the brand angle when they start, building their content. Number two that they miss is start building an email list or maybe a community. They just keep posting, keep posting, keep posting, but they forget that they have to get attached to that community. That community should wait to see them, right? So they don't focus much on these small elements like they should engage, they should come on live sessions, they should interact. All these things are way missing than how it used to be earlier. So that is on the second number. Number third is what I would feel that creators are missing is building a proper strategy. Because I'll tell you, lot of like consistency without clarity would lead to burn. That's why you will feel a lot of creators, they come on 10K, 20K, 15K, and then they leave. They are like, humse nahi ho paye. It doesn't work like that. You have to come up with a strategy. You have to come up with a long-term plan. Okay, 6 months I'll do. 6 months I'll give this a shot. Then you will see the results. So I think these are the three, four concepts that creators are actually taking very wrong right now. They have focused on the core elements before going wild. So that's the thing.
Thank you for sharing that. And how do you guys at Scale Social, right, create and make YouTube channels as a second income source for people? And also talk to us about the growth in faceless YouTube channels in recent years. That is, I think, it's still catching up. And how does it help people generate revenue?
Okay. So I'll tell you that why, like I myself also, I'm very inclined towards building such channels. And I'll tell you why, because it doesn't need the face, okay? For anyone who's investing in the faceless channel, it's an effortless process for them because just in 2 or 3 months, you start getting a YouTube revenue, which is basically a second earning stream. If you will consider like Indian people or Indian population, they usually think of other business ideas like let's put some money in this business, manufacturing business, this that. But I'll tell you, this segment of having a YouTube faceless channel is also like a business that gives you set monthly income every single month. So, what I call it is basically productizing their knowledge. Usually, the people that we are working for have their own interest sectors. Interest sectors, by that I mean, uh, one of my clients wants to post content on geopolitics. That channel is only focused on geopolitics. The other wants to just talk about the structures around the world, which just focuses on the building, the mega structures, etc. The third wants to speak about the dark reality. Dark realities, it can even be of cartoons that we watch, like SpongeBob SquarePants, etc. Such type of videos are in very high demand on YouTube, right? So I focus on building channels based on the interest of those people, and then through video storytelling, through voiceovers. Voiceover is also AI generated. Like voiceover is AI generated. There's great storytelling. These videos are like explainer kind of the videos, 5 to 7 minutes long. And this is how we start building a faceless YouTube channel. And I'll tell you why this is so much in demand. Because nobody judges you when you create a faceless YouTube channel, right? There's no face. If I could give a big example for the faceless YouTube channels, it can be Fern India. They are having millions of subscribers. Zem TV is one of the very famous channels. It is Pakistan based, but it's very famous since 2021. People are so addicted to his voice and just watch the content for his voice. So, faceless YouTube channels have a huge potential, and it gets monetized in just a time frame of 1 or 2 months. So in 1 or 2 months, you kind of create a separate business line that earns you money while you are actually sleeping. So you don't have to do anything. You're just building something that earns recurring money. So yeah, so that's the best investment that people think. I think this is still a new concept in India, but when we are working with the international clients, this is something that's a very known concept, and they are very driven towards building that.
Yeah, I recently came across this anti.profit that creator has approached me to get interviewed on the show. And I was amazed. Like, I think within 1 year, they were able to accumulate around 2 million followers. And all the content is generated automatically. So, what do you call, it is so surprising. All right. So, Muskan, let's move forward and talk about one more important question, which is about why do or what do most founders still get wrong about using social media for business growth? Most of the times, I have seen being in this industry for last 5 years, they approach PR agencies to get featured on podcasts like mine or somebody else's and all, but they don't create for themselves and they are not so inclined about social media. So, what's your take on that?
So just over here is so in current times, I feel business cards have become very irrelevant. Rather, the businessman's profile works, wonders for any meeting or anything, etc. So I feel the founders have to be really active on social media. And what thing they are getting wrong in this entire process is They're handing over their social media to anyone else who don't understand them, right? Putting content on personal profile that would work is very different, while taking their personal perspectives and writing that caption based on that is very different, right? So when we do personal branding also for anyone, I sit and listen to them for 2 hours. In that meeting, only the clients, because I want to know, I want to go inside that person's head and understand how this person thinks. Because when you're building any audience, if that person is handling their social media by themselves, they have to speak what they feel about rather than being fake on social media. Because I've seen this fake thing growing a lot. People post something else on social media, and in reality, they are totally different. Their perspectives are totally different. They're posting something that people would like, and that's actually the worst way you can run your social media, because you have to be authentic over there. You don't have to treat it like a billboard or something. Like if you see on LinkedIn, the perspectives of founders have totally changed. Rarely people are speaking about the failures. Rarely people are speaking about their burnouts. Rather, a founder is always burnt out. By night, founders have zero energy to speak, right? And that happens with every founder. And in morning, they put up a LinkedIn post, how I balance my energy and etc. So I think the things have to be very fair. The things have to be very authentic in order to build a personal brand for any founder. And that's what they're getting wrong. Even if they're outsourcing their content to any agency or for sake anyone, they have to make them understand how they think about those particular things. And for every topic that for their person who's managing social media, they have to understand, go inside the founder's head to understand how they think about this perspective. And that's how they'll be able to build a personal brand where, it's both sided. Because right now, one thing that I've seen is founders really have no time to post, to think about their content. So majority of the content is outsourced. But then how are you talking to your audience, right? You have to make sure that that personalization is always there. So I think that is missing, and that's how they fail to build the community that speaks to them directly. I totally feel, that podcast is going to change the game forever. And the reason behind that is because podcast is basically offering an intimate storytelling format where, both sides are heard. Since past 10 years, 20 years, India was missing this kind of journalism, this kind of interaction where both sides are heard. Millennials are missing that, Gen Zs are missing that. But recently, like the biggest example I could give you was the recent Rajshamani's podcast that happened with Vijay Malia. It was unexpected. It was a bomb that dropped that day. And I was traveling the metro on that single day, and I realized everyone in that metro, like 100, 200 people were just watching that. Why? Because it gave an opportunity to people to hear the other side of the story, right? Which traditional media would have never done. Also, there was a lot, like apart from Vijayamala's incident, also there are a lot of incidents where traditional media has let down people just for some sake of TRP or that. Uh, they didn't try to give the right information to the people, for which people have right on. And podcast is a very, very organic form of the conversation, is what I feel. I have been on podcasts, I have conducted podcasts, so I know. Like, there's nothing called as paid podcast, planned podcast. Even though if two people are having a conversation, it cannot go word by word. So it's possible what people claim. So that's what I feel like. It's going to change the dynamics, because now people don't want to hear one side of the story. People want to hear double side of the story. So traditional media, I believe that it's going to die out very soon, because still they are running behind TRP, and that is not something that people want now.
Yeah. Interests are changing, and moreover, people are becoming vigilant, and people are smart nowadays. Great. I love the great. I love the example here, and let's move to the next one. So, what are the biggest myths about the influencer economy that you wish more people understood? I'll give you one example. Let's assume, okay, let me bring some XYZ on the show, and my show will become a hit. That is a kind of thing. Okay, if at all I were thinking about influencers, right? Likewise, do you have anything to share? Talk.
So I would like to mention that even for the new people who want to become influencers, like when they say it's very easy to earn money in this industry, the brands come very easily. The brands will be running behind you. In fact, all these are very fake. There's nothing like that. It's the biggest myth. You have to work extremely hard on your content in order to close one brand deal, right? So that's the reality. The number second part that I would like to mention over here is a lot of people say that this is not a real career, right? I believe that even done rightly, if done rightly, this can be a real career because if you will see in the traditional form of the marketing, we used to analyze everything, the analytics, the past behaviors, how people used to take this content, etc. Everything used to be on paper. That's how traditional media used to work. This is a modern way of marketing with a face, right? So whoever is saying that, influencer marketing cannot be a career, I don't agree with them because if done rightly, this can be a career that can build your generational wealth as well. So that's the thing. And the number third that I believe is a lot of people, a lot of people and influencers, micro ones especially, they feel that the follower count is equals to impact, which means only 1 million followers, people with 1 million followers would get brand deals, etc. But that's not true actually. So follower counts actually don't matter today in 2025. But even though if you have 1,000 followers, but your content reaching to 20K, 30K of the people, 1 million, I think you are doing a really good job.
So this is a great example because for my 500th episode, I have reached out to certain big influencers across India, and I don't want to name them, but they asked me like, if you have 1 million subscribers, then only we'll come to your show. Likewise, I came across certain bouncers. But on the flip side, I've seen people like Meera Shenoy, like whose name was taken during Man Ki Baat by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and Abraham George. There is a documentary on Netflix. So those guys have come to my platform. Okay, so because they have seen the value that I am adding, right? So I definitely concur with what you have said. And numbers are going to come, but numbers need not be chased, right? Focus on the value addition. So that's what we have been following actively, and thanks for reminding that. And Muskan, I don't know how the past 40-50 minutes have gone by, but this is incredible. I'm thoroughly enjoying the conversation. However, it's time for us to add some spice and some excitement to the episode, so which means we have to kick off the second rapid fire round. If you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so Muskan, if you have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Start scared, but start anyway.
Awesome. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Oh, hardworking.
Okay, a book that you recommend every content creator to read.
It was a book that I recently started reading. It's Show Your Work by Austin Kellogg.
Okay. And then one thing about content creation that you wish you knew early on.
It would be that good content doesn't sell until people see it. So basically, perfection is also as equal as distribution.
Okay, great. And the content creator that you admire the most.
I actually watch a lot of creators, Indian, international, but recently I've come across this creator who's always same in all of his videos, and his videos are really good and inspiring.
Ali
It's
Abdal.
Ali Abdal. I really like his
Yeah,
work.
doctor turned
Yeah.
creator. Okay.
Mhm.
Great. So here comes the last one for the second rapid fire round. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
Something, a gadget that can actually edit my reels when I am sleeping. Because editing your reels like it takes a lot of energy from you.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. When you get that, pass it on to me as well. Okay. Uh, all right, so let's flip back to the mainstream. And what would be your content creation 101 look like if you were teaching founders from scratch?
Okay. So when it comes to the founders, I would like to. So this is basically a framework. So the number one thing that you need to focus is uh, building your why, which means why do you want to create content? What's the reason behind you creating that content? That's the number one thing that you need to identify and have a clarity in mind. Step number two would be build your voice. Like focus on how you want your content to be, like in which languages it has to be, like what should be the brand font, how do you want it to position, how do you want to make people feel about your content, etc. Number three is you need to start small. Okay. So if you're planning 4 content pieces, I would say remove that and make it 50, because make it a good testing learning lab for you with that 50 content pieces. So it's the third step that you need to do is start small. Fourth you need to do is you need to systemize. When you know your content quantity, you need to systemize through a proper funnel, through a proper content calendar, through a proper analytics tracking of what all metrics are very important for you in this content creation journey. And then when you have all these set, when you started creating content, start try start to try to build your own community. By that I mean, don't leave it after putting that push button or that post button on. Don't stop there. Don't switch off your phone or maybe keep your phone aside. Make sure that you engage. Make sure that you send that reel to maybe 20, 50 of your closest people. That also really counts, right? All these small, small efforts in the long run. So make sure that you start building a community. Whoever replies comes in, make sure that you respond to them on time. And once you already have your community in place, you are consistent enough, you have your vision, you have your topics in hand, then start trying to monetize on that. Maybe you can start offering them the solutions, and maybe it can be solutions to their real problems. So maybe you can act as a guide or coach to them. So there are various formats where you can actually think to monetize them. Maybe you can have one-on-one sessions with them through a platform. Or maybe you can, if you have a community of 10K or 20K by that time, maybe you can conduct a courses of 1 month or so on. Like you need to start thinking about how are you going to monetize this growing community then. So this is basically a 6-step framework that I follow when I work with founders, because uh, everyone's ultimate goal is to start earning a revenue to what they are building, right? But to build that, there are some initial frameworks which are this, because your clarity is needed in this entire system. Otherwise, it would lead to a burnout, which you don't want. So, yeah, these are the things I follow.
Good one. And I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. It was such an insightful conversation. And Muskan, how is your experience being hosted on TGV, the Guiding Voice?
It was really great because I'll tell you, whichever podcast that I've been on earlier on, it was all about me, my journey, and my past. But you spoke about my present and my future. So this is something that I really enjoyed because I feel that these are the topics that have to be spoken out, especially for the person who's just working on that, right? And you focused on exactly that nerve, and I feel that this podcast will be very valuable for the people who are starting out, for the people who are confused, and the most important, the people who are willing to leave their concentration journey. I don't want them to leave. I want them to stay, work hard, and get those numbers that they have dreamt. So you have given me a platform. I really enjoy. I really enjoyed your energy. I really enjoyed the framework that you have followed in the entire chat. So yeah, love to be here.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, and appreciate your time. And thank you once again for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. So, looking forward to hosting you again in future. All right. So, and I wish you and the entire team at Scale Socials all the best in everything that you guys do.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much, Naveen. That really means a lot.
Yeah. All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Muskan Saxena. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the guiding voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now it's time for us to hop into the trivia segment. Today I thought of presenting you 3 lesser known and interesting facts about influencer marketing that most people don't talk about. And the first fact is that influencer marketing was first used for religious influence, which means before brands used influencers for sales, religious and political figures acted as influencers to shape public behavior. Yes, you heard it right. And for centuries, kings, priests, and spiritual leaders influenced masses to adopt certain values, wear specific clothes, or follow certain rituals. And this was influence at scale even without digital platforms for existing that time. And influence existed before Instagram. It just wore robes instead of hashtags. Second fact is micro influencers have 60% higher engagement than celebrities. That's why Muskan wants to work with more micro influencers than one big celebrity, if you remember the first rapid fire round. So research shows that micro influencers, means those with 1000 to 50K followers, often have up to 60% more engagement than mega influencers or celebrities. And people find them more relatable, just like a guy next door kind of thing, authentic and trustworthy, and which makes their recommendations more powerful despite smaller reach. And big is not always better in the creator economy. We have emphasized on this topic a couple of times in this episode. And the last but not the least, the term influencer was only popularized after 2015. Even though influencer marketing was happening on blogs and YouTube since the early 2000s, the official word influencer only entered mainstream marketing vocabulary around 2015, primarily due to Instagram and and also brand partnerships going viral. Before that, they were called bloggers and YouTubers or just online personalities. So, a decade ago, calling someone an influencer might have gotten you a confused stare. So, these are the things which I wanted to present you from the trivia perspective. Likewise, if you are aware of any interesting trivia about influencer marketing, do let me know. Or if you know any content creator who could add value to our platform, do let me know about them. So, folks, that's it for today. And thank you so much for tuning in, and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So, until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.